back to another episode of Too Much Podcast. Today is April 8th. We're back again for another back day in baseball history. Johnny Black is back again with me after the last couple of days I did it solo. So, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks. I'm looking forward to doing this again. Past few days have been kind of busy. So
that's gone. George Brett has just homered, and Billy Martin and the Yankees want the bat. Look at Martin.
Well, what you're talking about, Frank, is that he's got too much
pod tar.
way too much pod tar.
So it's quite a packed day today. A lot of good stuff. Quite a few birthdays as well, and we'll get to that a little bit. And just to start off, back last year was when this day was when Chris Davis broke the longest hitless streak in Major League history when he went 0 for 47, and that mark passed Eugenio Velez, who set it back in 2010 and 2011, and they finally he was able to do that, finally get over that hump and get a hit finally. Then he got a support from the Orioles fans, who actually started to boo him when he was in that hitless streak, but they actually cheered him when he was finally got out of the slump.
yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
how long he went. He actually wound up going 0 for 54 as a total.
oh yeah,
that's the new record. But that's insane, especially considering, I mean, like you said, the Orioles fans weren't too happy with Davis for a couple of years at that point because of the money that he's making. But ridiculous contract that Angelo signed him to anyway. I mean, that was stupid in the first place, but, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it does.
yeah. I mean, I know I was seeing that he was doing pretty good in spring training when we had spring training there. So he was actually getting some hits in games. But I mean, it's only spring training, so I mean, you might not end up playing it out great. I mean, because last year was I was thinking just one for the Yankees. Like, I think Greg Bird did good in spring training, and then what happened with there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same thing. You can do good in spring training, but it doesn't always translate to regular season games. Especially against like some of these minor league pitchers.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. You're facing guys who are on, an invite for spring training, like the young guys. Plus, you got some older guys too that are just, get a minor league contract with an invite to spring training. To see if they still have anything left, if they can make the team, and stuff like that. So, yeah, spring training doesn't mean anything. I mean, it means more, I guess, when you get closer because the starting pitchers are getting stretched out. So you're facing guys like whatever, DeGrom and stuff like that. Like the top, those guys are actually throwing, 4 or 5 innings before the season starts. So that's more of an indication. But I mean, spring training was only 2 weeks long this year, and it didn't, we really didn't get going. So, yeah, so it doesn't mean much, but I'm kind of hoping Chris Davis could, at least come back to a serviceable player. Yeah. I mean, he's just been horrible. I mean, it's funny to think that 5 years ago he had 53 home runs.
Right.
It's insane, but
hey, that's right. I remember he had 3 hits in that game against the Red Sox.
Yeah. Well, good way to break out.
Yeah, helped the team to win too.
Yeah, that was just crazy.
And then back to 2016, there was, as I mentioned, last couple days, Trevor Story doing some cool things. Another mark that he hit was became the first player to hit 3 home runs in his first 4 games of the season. And he was also the 5th guy in history to hit 4 hit a homer in 4 straight games to start the season, which was also a mark that was reached by Chris Davis in 2014. Nelson Cruz, 2011, Mark McGwire, 1998, and Willie Mays in 1971. So yeah, stories that year, 2016, he was coming out of the gate hot.
Well, the thing with him is that it was almost a surprise, somewhat, that he was starting the season, opening the season, because he was a rookie. So it was interesting to see Colorado actually put him at shortstop, start him at shortstop right out of the gate, rather than keep him in the minors for service time issues and stuff like that. But he definitely rewarded them. The first few games came out real hot.
Yeah. And 2015, Adrian Gonzalez, he became first major leaguer to hit 5 home runs in first 3 games of the season, and also joined Carl Furillo and Jimmy Wynn as the only players in their history to homer in their first 3 games of the season. So I've seen like a lot of these marks that have been hit like over the last couple of days. There's a lot of players that have hit marks like that, like hit a lot of home runs in a certain amount of games.
Yeah, I think it tends to happen a lot in the beginning of the season, because guys just, and we talked about, even though spring training doesn't mean anything, sometimes these guys can get get kind of in a groove, and then the adrenaline of starting the season, and even if you're on a team that doesn't look like they're going to have a chance, everyone starts off 0-0. Yeah. So I mean, you get into the season, especially like some of the warmer weather or something like that. I mean, obviously it's warm in spring training, but I'm just saying, if you can come up and start the season in warm weather and continue that, if you were hot in the spring training, continue that into the regular season. Yeah, you kind of see that a lot. Yeah. I think Gonzalez hit 3 home runs in a game at some point in those first 3 also.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Whatever happened to him, it kind of seemed like he just fell right off there at the end.
Yeah, he just I don't know. He kind of just, that was it. Like, he went to the once he went to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That was kind of his kind of the beginning of his decline, so to speak. I mean, because he was great for the Padres for a long time, and then he was actually really good on the Red Sox. But the Red Sox included him in the trade when they sent Carl Crawford and those guys over to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a couple good years with the Dodgers. Actually, 2015, when he hit those 5 home runs in the first 3 games, he wound up with 28 home runs and 90 ribbies. So I mean, he had a good season, hit 275, 285 the following year, and then I think it was the injuries, back issues and stuff caught up to him. And he finally finished up with the Mets in 2018.
Yeah,
and that was,
completely forgot about him being on the Mets. I didn't even remember that.
Yeah, he was basically the Mets signed him to like a minor league deal, same type of thing that we talk about, and they basically were paying him. The Dodgers were still paying him. Yeah. And the Mets kind of just had to pay him the league minimum, basically. So they were like, "What the hell? Might as well grab him, veteran, play first base, whatever." And that was it for him.
Yeah.
He was 36 years old at the time. He had back issues and stuff. This time, that was it. He was a good player for a long time, though.
Yeah. I mean, he played in much of his seasons. He played like 150 plus games, like whatever, 10 times. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, like every year. Yeah.
Yeah, 11 seasons he did that.
Yeah. He was in that lineup every day. South. And considering he played in San Diego for some of his career, I mean, it's not like he played in a hitter's ballpark, and the dude was still hitting 30, 40 home runs.
Yeah.
Always a good fielder, 4 Gold Gloves. I mean, he was definitely a real good player.
Mm-hmm. And 2014, Yangervis Solarte, when he was on the Yankees, he became the first player in Major League history to double 6 times in his first 7 games of his career. And he was the one piece that the Yankees got when they traded Chase Headley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Mark.
Padres. Yeah. So yeah, he was pretty. I liked him when he was on when he was on them, but then he ended up. Where did he go? I forget where he even went.
He went to
Did he
played a
go?
year for Toronto,
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
and he was on the Giants last year, but he only played 28 games. But yeah, he was So I
Yeah,
thought it was a decent, but he was actually started out on the Yankees.
yeah, and then they. Oh yeah, and then they traded him to the. He was that's that year in July. He was traded to the
Yeah,
Padres for the Headley.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
started.
He's one of those utility guys.
Yeah,
You know, solid bat. If you have to put him in the lineup, that's fine. He's a switch hitter, decent defense all over the field.
yeah, he's not bad. And I was with the Braves this year.
Oh yeah, yeah. Non-roster invitee. So
Yeah, I didn't realize he's already 32. I thought he was younger than that.
yeah, yeah. Thought he was a little younger too, but I guess he came up late, and he was an international signing, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, he actually started with the Twins. He was in
Oh,
the
did he? That I didn't know.
Yeah, he was in the Twins minor league system for from 2006 to 2011.
Yeah, I guess he just never
Yeah, he
never
was
got
only
a shot.
he only got up to Double A his last year, and then he went to the Rangers minor leagues and he was in Triple A, and then went to the Yankees.
Yeah.
So.
Hmm.
And then another year before that, 2013, another landmark that was hit. But Joe Nathan recorded his 300th career save against the Rays, becoming the 24th major leaguer to reach the milestone, which is definitely a good mark.
Yeah, I think Joe Nathan. That was a great trade by the Twins
Yeah.
when they got him. He was drafted by the Giants, and he was originally drafted as a shortstop.
Oh yeah.
And the Giants, they just didn't, he played. The Giants turned him into a pitcher, and he actually started out as a starter for them, but wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
So they put him in the bullpen, and yeah, the Giants wound up trading him, Francisco Liriano, and Boof Bonser to the Twins for AJ Przinsky.
Yeah.
That was one of the deals that worked out for the Twins because Nathan was a top-notch closer for a while.
Oh yeah, he was solid. And this is a little earlier back in 1991. There another thing on 300 saves. Goose Gossage relieved in a game for Nolan Ryan. It was the first time in history that a 300 game winner and a closer that had 300 saves pitched in the same game, which is a pretty crazy thing.
Yeah, that is crazy. And at the time, you're talking about two of the hardest throwers. I mean, Ryan,
Right.
even nowadays, Ryan threw 100, but back then, no one threw 100. Now you have you always have a guy or two on your roster that throw. And even the closers back then, I mean, Gossage was it, in his time before 91,
Yeah.
he was elite, intimidating on the mound and everything like that. And, he was kind of the prototype of that, big hard throwing closer that comes in and strikes everyone out in the ninth inning. But that was an interesting stat. I wonder if that's been done since. I don't think so. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't. Doesn't sound like it's something that could happen that too often.
Yeah, I mean, who wins 300 games anymore? To be honest with you, but I'm trying to think of someone in the early 2000s, like someone like Clemens with Rivera coming in or something like that. But I don't know if that might have happened.
Yeah,
But
I
the
don't know.
Clemens have 300 at the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or even something like I don't know. Well, Randy Johnson didn't have great closers, but
Yeah, that's definitely a crazy one. It's not
yeah,
something that wouldn't really happen.
no. Because he possibly Clemens and Rivera.
Yeah, I don't know if they're at the mark. He was at that mark yet. I don't know.
Yeah, in 2003, he won his 300th game in 2003.
2003. Oh, so maybe.
His last year with the Yankees.
Yeah. I feel like it probably did happen then. Maybe.
Yeah, it was a short time where he was, I don't know. It's possible because Rivera was there, so that's possible. But Rivera didn't have 300 saves yet.
Oh. What did he get? I don't remember even when he got 300 saves. Actually, I see it now. 2004, he got it.
2004, he got it. Yeah, so it wouldn't have been 2003 then, but Clemens and Rivera, they
No.
would have just missed each other.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so it probably hasn't happened. I mean, like I said, I can't think of how else it could have possibly happened because you think about the 300 win pitchers. I mean, you only have since '91. I mean, who do you have? Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, CC. But CC just did it. I mean, Yankees don't have anyone with 300 saves.
well, I
Unless
think
Chapman has it by now, but
got it last year, but I don't think I think it was like late in the season.
yeah. So So I don't think it's happened since. Yeah, Chapman has 273, so he doesn't even have 300.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can get it like maybe this year.
Yeah. Hopefully, they play enough games.
I don't know if they're even playing enough games for him to do that, but if not, next year, then probably.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it could be Kimbrel, maybe. Because he had 300 saves. I don't know if anybody. No, I guess no. I don't think any Red Sox have 300 wins though. So
No.
So I guess I don't think it would have happened yet.
Yeah.
Maybe if like Lester gets to 300 wins and Kimber closes out a game for him or something.
Yeah, Lester's too far away.
Yeah,
I don't think he's getting to 300. He's only pushing 200 right now.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. You think he's pitched forever, and he's been on good teams, but now guys don't get wins like they used to.
No, it's not really even as important anyway.
Yeah, more about the team wins and saving the arms and stuff. I mean, that's why you're never going to see. I mean, Greg Maddux, 355 wins. You're never going to see that anymore. 5,000 innings in his career. It's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, Maddux wouldn't have done it either.
No.
8. He got his 300th win in 2004 with the Cubs. They wouldn't have had anyone with 300 saves.
Oh.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, and then 2011, Manny Ramirez announced his retirement after he was facing a 100-game suspension for violating the drug policy for the second time. And he's another kind of fringe Hall of Famer. Like if Bonds and Clemens get in, then he can possibly have a chance. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Manny Ramirez, talent-wise and stat-wise, he should be in easily.
Yeah.
As should, obviously, Bonds and Clemens. But with this, the thing is, too, is that Manny got caught twice.
Right.
Suspended. You know what I mean? Bonds and Clemens never got busted for it.
No.
of course, there wasn't the kind of testing beforehand, when they played and stuff like that. Manny, it was later on when he retired, there was testing involved already. But, I mean, Manny Ramirez, definitely one of the best, if not the best, right-handed hitters I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 312 lifetime batting average, 555 home runs. The guy was just a monster.
Yeah.
But like I said, the 2 times that he got caught, it's just that leaves that stain. Actually having the positive test, not just once but twice, that even puts it more over the top.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It is a shame though, because he was a great hitter.
Oh yeah. So he has a 312 career batting average.
Yeah, insane.
And as we talked about with Chris Davis, with the dubious record with going over 54 start last year. 2009 was another one that was dubious. Daniel Cabrera, he struck out 16 times in 16 consecutive bets.
That might be worse. I mean, that's just I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just crazy. 16 consecutive at bats, you strike out.
Yeah, I mean,
like I said, that might be worse. Like Chris Davis for the 0 for 54. I haven't looked at every one of those at bats, but I mean, there had to be one or two, a couple of them that were like hit pretty hard, but just right at someone or whatever. I mean, striking out 16 times in a row is. I mean, you might as well hang it up at that point. I don't know. It's like maybe pick a better another line of work.
He was also a pitcher though, so I guess it's a little bit less of a thing, like his.
Yeah.
But still.
Still, even for a pitcher,
Yeah.
obviously it's a record. So I mean, it's pretty bad anyway.
Yeah, I mean, at least put the bat up there, like bunt. Even if you just bunt, don't strike out. Like, geez.
Yeah. After probably like 10 straight strikeouts, I think I'd try to drag one down the first base line or something. Well, I'd try anything.
Yeah, just do anything at that point. Oh, and then 2008, Jamie Moyer at 46 years old. He at the last home opener at Shea Stadium, he beat the Mets, and he was older than the Mets Stadium, which was 45 years old.
Oh, Jamie Moyer.
He lasted forever. Oh my god! I was like, is this guy gonna pitch to 50? Jesus.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
He was 49 when he retired.
Yeah.
25 seasons, but he started in 1986 and retired in 2012.
Oh my god.
Oh man. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Gave up the most home runs in history of baseball.
Wow.
522 home runs he gave up.
Jeez.
Yep.
What's the second most?
I don't know. I'm just seeing the gold around his number on Baseball Reference. I don't know. I think it's like Robin Roberts or Burt Blyleven or someone like that. I know Blyleven gave up a lot of home runs, especially toward the end of his career when he was back in Minnesota, because they played in the Metrodome, and he had a great curveball, but when he didn't have his curveball on, it just sat there and hung. So I remember Blyleven. I forget what year it was, but it was toward the end. It was in I think late 80s or early 90s, when he gave up 50 home runs in 1 year.
Damn.
So I would say my guess would be Blyleven.
Actually, I looked it up. It was actually Warren Spahn with 434.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he pitched a ridiculous amount of innings, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Warren Spahn.
Yeah.
I know he pitched forever, too, for the Braves.
Yeah.
He's one guy. I think Warren Spahn, if I'm not mistaken. A trivia question for. I'll go look it up again, but I'm pretty sure this is the case. He's the only guy, I believe, in Major League history to have 2,500 career strikeouts, but never strike out 200 in a season.
That's interesting.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he threw over 5,000 innings.
Yeah, the most he struck out was 191.
Yeah. I mean, he led the league a few times. Guys just didn't strike out back then.
No.
It just wasn't a thing. That's what made Ryan so ridiculous. Well, obviously Spahn pitched before Ryan, but I'm just saying, the strikeouts back then, it wasn't a thing.
No.
It was almost, the thing was to minimize your pitch count. Not that they counted pitch count really, but the thing was the mentality of pitchers back then was so you could pitch the whole game. You didn't want to waste pitches trying to strike guys out, trying to nibble, trying to pitch. You know what I mean? You went after guys and tried to get them to hit the ball to your fielders to get out of the innings faster. That's why the game was quicker back then and stuff like that, and less pitch changes, obviously, because a lot of times your starting pitcher in Spahn's day, like late 40s, 50s, 60s, your pitchers pitched complete games because they got to the 8th, 9th inning and they still only threw 90, 100 pitches. Nowadays, guys are throwing 100 pitches by the 5th, 6th inning. So it's a completely different thing. Just a complete different mentality of how players played.
Yeah. And the 2004 Petco Park opened for the Padres, and they won their first game coming behind and won in 10 innings, 4-3. Trevor Hoffman actually blew the save in the 9th.
Wow.
But then they.
Yeah, I was surprised Petco's that old. For some reason, I thought it only opened like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's a nice park too. I was there. What was it? 4 years ago now, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I saw that. I was there when the Yankees played them. I got to see Mariano close the game out.
Cool. That's very cool.
Oh, so it wasn't. Yeah, it was 6 years ago then. Yeah. Oh no, 7 years ago now. Whoops. Oh my God.
Wow. Wow.
Time is flying.
Time flies, man.
Yeah, I went on like a 3-week trip to the West Coast, and that was part of it. And then the Yankees played the Dodgers too. We were thinking about going to even see them play the Dodgers, but we were closer to San Diego, so we went there.
Oh, by the way, I found another instance where there was a 300 win player and a 300 win pitcher and a 300 save pitcher. Greg Maddux, when he was on San Diego in 2007 and 2008, Trevor Hoffman actually saved a couple games for him.
Damn.
He had won his 300th game by then, and obviously Trevor Hoffman had 300 saves by then too.
Yeah.
He finished with 600. He had 300 saves years before that. But yeah, I was just thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? Maddux was on we were talking just like you just said about Petco with the Padres. I was like, Maddux was on the Padres. And sure enough, 2007, 2008, Maddux pitched some games. Toward the end of it was the end of his career. But yeah, Hoffman saved a few. So that just to bring it up, there was another instance.
That's probably like the only other one too. I couldn't think of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah. And Hideki Matsui, he in his first game at Yankee Stadium, he hit a grand slam for his first home run, and it was as Godzilla, and he received a big applause and curtain call from the Yankee Stadium crowd. a good moment, and of course he ended up having that good year in 2009 when they won the World Series, won the World Series MVP. You know. Yeah, I always loved Godzilla.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Yeah.
I liked him too. Yeah, 2009. He really,
Yeah.
In that World Series, 8 for 13 with 3 home runs. I mean, that's crazy. They couldn't get the dude out.
No.
He was good in his playoff career. Actually, looking at all the playoffs, in his career, he had 205 at bats, 312 batting average with 10 home runs.
Nice.
That's over the course of 56 games. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know what? When he came over from Japan, he was already 29 years old, 28 years old, and he had been on the big stage already in Japan because baseball's huge over there.
Yeah.
He played for the Yomiuri Giants, the biggest team, the Yankees of the Japanese league, and he was the big home run hitter there. So I mean, the pressure he had no issue coming to the Yankees and being under that microscope, of the New York media and stuff like that, and being in Yankee Stadium, and even with the playoffs, none of that stuff seemed to bother him. I think he thrived on it, just the support and having the crowds.
Yeah, definitely. It was. Then he wound up. He ended up playing with the Rays. So he finished with them, but then I think he had like a 1-day contract or something with the Yankees and retired with them.
Yeah.
So, because he was obviously his better years with the Yankees, so it was sad to see him go when he went to the Rays. I was like, oh, it's like one of those guys you don't want to see go. It was like kind of like if Jeter ended up going somewhere else.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough thing. Got someone. That's right. And he left right after that World Series, actually, too, didn't he? Wasn't it the following year? He went to the Angels.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, he went to the Angels the following year after the World Series. Actually, had a decent year.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it now, 274, 361 on base percentage, 21 homers, 84 ribbies. Actually, a decent season.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was it. He went to Oakland and then Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Pretty much, that was it.
Yeah, it was crazy. He was already 35 when he in the World Series year, and he had that good of a year.
Yeah.
In the same year, 2003, Todd Helton, he set a Rockies record, but as he reached base in all 7 of his plate appearances, he went 4 for 4 and with 3 walks.
Wow. The Helton.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He should be.
Yeah.
He should get in there. Those guys would, the Coors Field stuff really hurts them.
Yeah.
But I think that, honestly, I think you can kind of tell I think Helton would have been good anywhere. I mean, the same thing happened to Larry Walker.
Yeah.
Why he had to wait till his last year of eligibility. You know what I mean? But it's going to hurt Helton more because Helton was a first baseman. See, Walker at least had years outside of Coors Field, and he also was an excellent fielder, could run the bases. Helton was, I mean, not that Helton wasn't a good fielder, but first base gets kind of knocked as far as the importance of defense. And it's not like Helton stole bases or anything like that. So when you're basing your value just about strictly on offensive production, I think Helton's going to get knocked a lot more than Larry Walker did. And that might really hurt him, but I definitely think he should be in. Like I said before, if you can slash 300, 400, 500 in the major leagues for any extended amount of time, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care where you play. You can play in a little league park. It doesn't matter. That's you're facing major league pitching. And granted, it may have helped his numbers to a point, but he's still I think Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree. And also, the same year was the Pirates unveiled a sculpture of Ralph Kiner at PNC Park, as they had a bronze, like, not really statue, but like a little piece with his hands gripping the baseball bat, and he was the fourth Pirate to have a statue outside the park, or at the park, with along with Willie Stargell, Honus Wagner, and Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, it's such a shame with Kiner. He's one of the most underrated players in the history of baseball.
Yeah,
dude, he came up in 1946. He led the National League in home runs his first 7 years in the majors.
Hmm.
He only played 10 years, and from 46 to 53, his first 8 seasons in the majors, he hit 329 home runs. I mean, he averaged 41 home runs a season. This is his first 8 years in the majors.
Yeah.
Such a shame that he retired when he was 32 because of back issues, I believe. But I mean, he had 369 career home runs, and he retired when he was 32. I mean, he could have.
Yeah.
He could have been, he could have had 500 easily. And he walked more than he struck out. And he played on some bad teams. We never played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He was never in the playoffs just because Pittsburgh was so bad back then. And then he got to Chicago. But, yeah, he is very underrated and, definitely deserving a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then he had the great show. He was a Mets announcer for all those years. I remember watching the Mets when I was growing up. Ralph Kiner was, and then after the game, he'd have Kiner's Corner.
Oh,
Which was like he'd interview a player or a coach or whatever and stuff like that. It was great.
yeah, that's cool.
He was really good. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. Years before that, the first Korean-born player to appear in the major leagues, Chan-Ho Park. And he pitched 1 inning, gave up 2 runs on 1 hit.
Yeah, he was a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And who did he come up with? He was at the Dodgers. That's right.
Yeah, Dodgers.
Yeah. 7 years later, the end of the season in 2001, he's the one that gave up Bonds' 71st home run. It broke McGuire's single season record.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. October 5th, 2001. I know it's not on this date, but in relation to Chan-Ho Park, yeah, he was the one that gave up Bonds' 71st.
Wow.
Yep.
And then the same year, Kent Mercker had a no-hitter against the Dodgers. Or no. Yeah, against the Dodgers. He was a Braves pitcher, and I don't know what else to say about it. But
Yeah, Merkel was, he was all right. He was a decent lefty for a while.
yeah, but a few years before that, Jim Abbott made his major league debut. Who ended up pitching a no-hitter that same year in 1993. He pitched a no-hitter. He was, of course, we all know that he was born without his right hand. I mean, right arm, rather. But
That was just his hand, I think.
oh yeah, it was his hand. Yeah, I was trying to think. But yeah, he was with the Yankees. Pitched a no-hitter with the Yankees. But he started with the Angels.
Oh, really? Did he start with the Angels?
Yeah.
Huh. Also, not to go back, but another note on Chan-Ho Park. He's also the one that gave up the 2 grand slams in 1 inning to Fernando Tatis Sr.
Oh wow.
Only player to ever do that. Hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
So he's in
Was
two big historic events.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, at Chan-Ho Park was in the middle of them, like giving up bombs. It's funny. I was like, well, Chan-Ho Park. I after we were talking about it, I was like, he gave up something else too. And sure enough, yeah, Fernando Tatis. Actually, we're going to touch on it in a couple of weeks because it happened April 23rd, 1999.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah, Fernando Tatis Sr. 2 grand slams off Chan-Ho Park. That's funny. Chan-Ho Park's known most for the home runs he gave up.
Yeah, that's crazy. And also today we have a happy birthday to Gary Carter, and he celebrated his 34th birthday in 1988. He went 3 for 3 with the home run. Yeah, so he celebrated another one today. He's now, what if I can do the math here?
Well, he's dead now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he passed away. He passed away in 2012. He had, I believe, he had an inoperable brain tumor. Yeah, such a shame. He was a great player, man. I remember watching him with Montreal and then with the Mets those years in the 80s. Down to two strikes, extra innings against the Red Sox in the '86 World Series, and he was one of the guys that got a base hit, and then obviously with Buckner. But he was such an amazing. He was an Iron Man behind the plate.
Yeah.
Dude caught just about every game, every single year. Incredible. And I know his daughter, Kelly Carter, I believe was the catcher for the USA women's USA softball team. I forget what year it was, but yeah.
And also back in 2 years before that, 1986, Will Clark, he hit a home run in his first major league at bat off of Nolan Ryan. So,
yeah, way to make an entrance.
Yeah.
Like after that happened, the whole league is like, all right, this guy can hit a fastball.
Yeah. Yeah, Will the Thrill? That was his nickname, right?
Yeah. He was a good player.
Yeah.
He deserves some Hall of Fame consideration. Will Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he could have, I don't know. It's tough. I think if he could have played a few more years, retired when he was 36. I think if he could have stuck around, but he retired. I mean, he hit his last season in the major leagues was 2000. He hit 319 with 21 home runs at 36 years old, and they just didn't play anymore. I think if he could have stuck around a little longer, you know, he was a career 303 hitter, 284 home runs. If he could have reached 300, I think he would have gotten a little more consideration. I mean, he was a really good hitter.
In 1975, Frank Robinson became the first African American manager in Major League history, as he led the Indians to a win over the Yankees 5-3. And he also hit a home run he was a player manager.
Yeah, crazy.
So,
yeah, he's one of the most underrated players. Again, just like I said about Kiner, but I mean, Frank Robinson, he's never mentioned with the all-time greats. When you talk about Mantle and Hank Aaron and guys like that, Willie Mays, he's never mentioned with them for some reason. And the dude is just, he was ridiculous.
yeah.
I mean, just looking at his stats, it's just insane. Over 1,800 runs, 1,800 RBI, 586 home runs. I mean, 294 lifetime average. Rookie of the Year, couple MVPs, won a Triple Crown in 1966. Guy was just, just unbelievable player. Even 200 stolen bases in his career.
Mm.
It's incredible. Yeah, he doesn't. For some reason, he doesn't get a lot of love. I don't know why. As far as like the all-time greats. But
it's weird. And of course, the year before, 1974, Hank Aaron passed Babe Ruth on the all-time home run list with his 715th home run off of Al Downing.
Yeah, that's the big one on today.
For Henry Aaron. So the confrontation for the second time. Aaron walked in the second inning. He means the tying run at the plate now. So we'll see what Downing does. Down at the belt, delivers, and he's low. Ball one. And that just adds to the pressure. The crowd booing. Downing has to ignore the sound effects and stay a professional and pitch his game. 1 ball and no strikes. Aaron waiting. The outfield deep and straight away. Fastball is a high drive into deep left center field. Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone. Marvelous moment for baseball. What a marvelous moment for Atlanta and the state of Georgia. What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. And it is a great moment for all of us, and particularly for Henry Aaron, who was met at home plate not only by every member of the Braves, but by his father and mother. He threw his arms around his father, and as he left the home plate area, his mother came running across the grass, threw her arms around his neck, kissed him for all she was worth. As Aaron circled the bases, the Dodgers on the infield shook his hand, and that was a memorable moment. Aaron is being mobbed by photographers. He is holding his right hand high in the air, And for the first time in a long time, that poker face of Aaron shows the tremendous strain and relief of what it must have been like to live with for the past several months. It is over. At minutes after 9 in Atlanta, Georgia, Henry Aaron has eclipsed the mark set by Babe Ruth. You could not, I guess, get two more opposite men. The Babe, big and garrulous and oh so sociable, and oh so immense in all of his appetite. And then the quiet lad out of Mobile, Alabama, slender and stayed slender throughout his career. Ruth, as he put on the poundage and the paunch, the Yankees put their ball players in pinstripe uniforms because it made Ruth look slimmer. But they didn't need pinstripe uniforms for Henry Aaron in the twilight of his career. He looked almost the same as he did when he first came up 20 years ago. And so it was a memorable moment before the game, and now what a sweet moment it is here in the middle of the game. So Henry and the Babe, the two greatest home run hitters that have ever lived. And it's a marvelous, wonderful, enjoyable moment here in Atlanta.
And of course, it was the great Vin Scully that called that game.
Yeah, because it was against the Dodgers. Yeah, I could listen to him talk all day.
Yeah, he's so soothing.
You know what I thought was funny, just ironic, in that, in his calling the game, that he says Buckner goes back in left field because Bill Buckner was the left fielder for the Dodgers that year.
Yeah.
It's so weird hearing that name back from the 70s.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible.
Oh yeah, Buckner was another one from this day. I think something with he came back to like Fenway Park for the first time or something.
Yeah, 2008. He returned to Fenway, threw out the first pitch, the standing ovation. Yeah, which was pretty cool for his, for his part in the 1986, collapse by the Red Sox in the last two games against the Mets. But I always thought he got an undue blame for that whole thing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I mean, they were up by a couple runs with, 2 outs and 2 strikes on 3 consecutive batters, and they all got hits. Yeah. So, I mean, your pitching's got to show up too. Not only that, too, I've always looked, when you look at the video of Buckner, first of all, by that time, he was toward the end of his career. Really shouldn't have been out there anyway. But even when him moving over and trying to field that ball, if he fielded that ball cleanly, I'm not 100% that Mookie Wilson doesn't beat that out down the line. I think because Buckner was a good few steps behind first base, and Mookie Wilson was batting from the left side when he grounded it that way. He was halfway down the line. If Buckner fields that and then has to, going to his side, he fields it cleanly, and then has to run forward to step on first, I honestly don't think he beats Mookie to the bag. That's really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he might have held, I don't know if he holds Knight at third base, if he fields it cleanly, but I don't know. Well, it was 2 outs. He would have been running anyway, but I don't know. I just think, like I said, even if he fields it cleanly, I'm not 100% sure that Mookie doesn't beat that out anyway for a base hit.
Mm-hmm.
So he got ridiculed way too much.
Yeah.
You're right.
A couple in 1969, there was a couple teams that made their debuts. The Seattle Pilots, which obviously we talked about, where they only lasted the one season.
Yeah.
And then the Royals also played their first game as they won, beating your Twins in 12 innings, 4-3. Yeah. The Royals are kind of what this podcast is based off of, like George Brett.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if Brett wasn't there yet.
Oh.
I forget when he started. But it wasn't quite there.
No.
Brett came up in 73.
Okay, so 4 years later. Well,
Yeah, cup of coffee. But his rookie year was 74, like his first full season.
yeah.
With George Brett, second round pick. Wow.
Wow. And of course, since 1969, the Royals have 2 World Series, 1985 and 2015.
Yeah, the 85 team was good. 2015 team was meh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was like
All right.
that was when the whole like they started like the whole thing with like pitch like just bullpen gate like pitching like having like all bullpen guys really. Like,
Yeah.
Not really focusing on the starter.
Yeah, well, they really didn't have a they didn't really have a good starting staff,
No.
but they had a great bullpen with Greg Hollins and Wade Davis, Calvin Herrera, like those guys. You know, they used them correctly, no doubt. I mean, even 2014. I mean, honestly, they got beat by the Giants, but I mean, only because of Bumgarner and his ridiculous World Series.
Oh yeah.
You know. Yeah, Brett was actually 1985. He was the ALCS MVP.
Oh wow.
Oh, he was ridiculous that year. He was 8 for 23 with 3 home runs in the ALCS, and then he was 10 for 27 in the World Series. So 18 for 50 in the playoffs that year because there was obviously no wild card back then. But that was actually the first. Funny because in 1985 that was the first year the ALCS and the NLCS was 7-game series. Before that, it was a 5-game series, which was big for Kansas City that year because they were down 3-1 to Toronto in the ALCS, and they wound up winning the last 3 games. So it was kind of luck was on their side that year that it actually became a 7-game series.
Yeah.
Or they would have been eliminated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the World Series rotation in 2015 was Edison Volquez, Johnny Cueto, Yordano Ventura, and Chris Young.
Well, not horrible.
Not terrible, but it was obviously not great.
Yeah. Well, they had traded for Cueto that year.
Yeah.
So they put trade deadline. Yordano Ventura, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace to him.
Who else did they have? Who was their other guy?
Chris Young.
Chris Young.
I don't remember him.
Yeah. He was the big dude. The dude's like, if I remember him correctly, he was like 6'8" or something like that. Like
6'10".
Yeah, 6'10". There you go. So yeah, that was him.
He's now he retired in 2017 with the Royals.
Yeah. But he's like 40 years old now.
49. All right, yeah. He's going to be 41 in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Oh, smart dude. He went to Princeton. I don't see many guys getting drafted out of Ivy League schools.
No. I know Mike Ford he went to, where the hell did he go to? Somewhere. One of those schools. I think he might have been Princeton too. I forget.
Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He went to Princeton, yeah.
Yeah, because he's from New Jersey, so. That's an interesting thing to look at. Like, try to name like baseball players that have gone to like those kind of school, like an Ivy League school, or even just like any sport. Just name athletes that have been to by those Ivy Leagues.
Yeah.
See who the smartest one is. Yeah, so what other birthdays were today? I know Felix Hernandez was one. I forget other ones.
Felix Hernandez and Carlos Santana. Actually, same year, too. They're the exact same age.
Hmm.
They were born in 1986, both of them. So they both turned 34 today. Gary Carter, which we had mentioned, and Catfish Hunter
Damn.
was one. And, of course, the Mets, Jeff McNeil,
Oh, yeah.
superstar of the Mets. Yeah, a bunch of them today. Interesting. Yeah, Hunter and Carter are both in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter was a solid pitcher. 5 World Series.
Yeah.
Won 3 with Oakland, and then won 2 with the Yankees in 77, 78, and pitched in 79 barely, and that was about it for him. Too much mileage on his arm. He only retired when he was 33, but he threw so many innings.
Yeah. And of course, our friend Emily from Twitter is also her birthday.
Yeah, Emily Nyman, she does it on Twitter. Yes, give her a shout out. Great follow, knows her stuff. She's actually started her own podcast a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So hopefully that goes well. She sounded really good. It was pretty interesting. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's called Breaking Balls.
Breaking Balls, yeah.
Emily Nyman. I like the name.
Great. Yeah, great name. That fits her personality on Twitter too. she's always breaking balls.
Yeah, nothing really else to mention for this day. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Well, except for maybe, kind of like 1934. It was the first legal baseball game to be played on a Sunday in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was a weird one I saw, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sundays, blue
Sunday
laws and stuff.
Day of rest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There was one I forgot. Pete Rose. He made his major league debut.
Oh yeah, 1963. Yeah.
Yeah, walked in his first plate appearance.
Yeah.
But he was held hitless there. He did score his first run though, which was he was driven in by Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson again.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll basically do it for this day in history. And just to remind everybody again, you can find this podcast anywhere you find podcasts, basically like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those cool things. And follow us on Twitter at pod_tar. Follow the Scorecrow there as well. And also Instagram, Facebook. Follow myself at Alex Keeler. Follow Johnny at jball0202. And yeah, like I've been saying, we've been trying to find things to write about, doing our what if articles and all those cool things. So it's definitely a hard time right now, but we'll get through it. There's a lot of things we can create, like even when there's no sports, we can still, like we've been doing, look back in time. It's not not too hard to do, especially with baseball. So, yeah, so thanks for listening, and we're back again tomorrow. And you can never have too much pod tar.